coming to that tricky part, I like to go ahead and take care of this linkage right now. And if you could see on here on your choke flap, there's one of those clips that we will go ahead and take off. And like I said, don't worry about breaking these because there are plenty more in your rebuild kit. Get her off with our pliers now. There we go. And we're going to remove this rod, taking note that it goes towards the inside, the clip, and we'll take that rod off. Now if you remember this has to sit down in here. This has to sit down in here this way while you get the keyed part to go through there and hold that. So what I like to do is I actually take the carb, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this in the shot, but we're going to give it a shot. I take the carb the wrong way and I just put that in there, and with it laying on its side, kind of get it lined up. Okay, and as you can see through the magic of photography, I was able to get it. If anyone knows any tricks on how to get that in, for God's sake, please chime in. What I did was just laid it on its side, fished it down in until the hole got lined up, and then just carefully put the keyed shaft through there. So I think that's one of the most challenging things about putting this thing together. Just requires a little patience. So I'm going to go ahead and button that up, and that takes our flathead screw. There we go. And good movement there. And now it's time for we're going to go ahead and put the gasket on. Got our brand new accelerator pump, and like I said, the instructions say to keep some pieces on there, but you don't need them. And the accelerator pump has a spring, and the spring kind of sits on there like that, and we'll just set that down in there and push this down in, and it's not going to stay. On the air horn, now the air horn, remember, has these brass tubes. You did clean them up and you make sure that none of them are loose, nothing got bent. Be very careful when putting these putting this down in. You don't want to bend those, nick them, or anything. These are very important. What we're going to do is we're going to put the gasket on and go ahead and set the air horn on. So you want to take your gasket, and usually the kits do come with a bunch of different ones, and you have to take the old gasket and lay it on and see which one fits. But this kit only came with two, and they did happen to be the correct one. So the first thing you want to do, you can see the gasket has a cutout in it, and you want to take that the cutout and push it down through so it kind of sticks out like that. And what you want to do is take this and slide it underneath your metering rod hanger, and get everything positioned there. And when it's laying down to where it's supposed to go, you will see that your metering rod is not, your hanger is not getting hung up on anything. So we're now going to go ahead and set the horn on. We're going to put our accelerator pump here, and first thing you got to do is line up your choke rod here. And I just turn this sideways a little bit just so the choke rod goes through there, being careful not to bend your brass tubes. And I'm going to go ahead and line up my accelerator pump and put it through the correct hole, and making sure that everything is lined up. This should just easily set down on there. My accelerator pump works. I will go ahead and put that choke linkage in there, and that is working correctly. Just have to put the clip on. And we'll go ahead and tighten this down. Now there is a tightening sequence, and it also says this in the instructions, and I'll get back to that in a second. But there is a tightening sequence to this, and there are 9 screws like I said before, and the first ones you want to do are the ones down inside the where you have to lift open the choke to get to them. Okay, so I finished tightening down all the screws that hold the air horn on. I like to do this in like a 3-part sequence. And I like to start just putting the screw down so it's just touching the bottom of the base, and then going back and tightening down just a little more in the correct sequence, and then on the third and final I'll go ahead and torque them down. But you don't want a lot of torque. You don't want to warp. There are problems if people over tighten these. It will actually warp the top of the bowl, and so you don't want to do that. You just want to snug them up. You don't want to put all of your power into tightening these screws. And then, you know, like I said, I go in the correct sequence: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I'll do that in that sequence just to get it all tightened up. So I went ahead and got that all buttoned up, and everything looks good. We'll bend our little tag down here and get that out of the way. So I think the next step I'm going to do now is I'm going to put this linkage on for the vacuum secondaries, and we'll hold it like this, and just kind of snaps or threads through here like this, and that is the wrong way. No, that's right. So it just kind of, so this kind of sits in here like this and just bends around like so, so it's kind of hooked in there. And this comes down here. We'll just lift up on this stem on the vacuum, on the diaphragm, and we'll just put it in place like that. Your kit comes with a bunch of new clips, and we'll go ahead and put this on. They kind of just snap in. You hold them with your finger, and then I'll just take the needle nose pliers and just crimp the end closed so it doesn't slip off of there. And it doesn't take a lot. These things bend real easy. Just a quick little snug up. There we go. And you can see that we have our new clip on there, and it's not going anywhere. And that will run our vacuum secondaries. That will open it up. Okay. I think the next step we're going to do is with the accelerator pump. Now the new kit does come with a new roll pin. However, I'm just going to use the one that's already down in here. See if I can get a shot of that. So I'm just going to go ahead and use the one that's already in there. And what I'll do